What's going on, guys? Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having us. We're super excited to be here.
No, great response time, you guys. I don't know who runs your Instagram, but it's pretty like on it.
Our unit publicist.
Oh,
Shout out to her.
Yeah, she's on it.
Oh yeah, for
Adrian,
sure.
Can you be my publicist or on my Instagram? No, I don't want
you. You can't have two people behind the scenes.
I can't I can't be letting you DM people on my stuff, right?
Doesn't work like that.
He'd only have food people on, and then he'd be like, "Please bring samples." Smoky Steve.
Oh yeah.
We had a Smoky Steve on the other day, and it's so funny. Like
everyone
talks about food, but he's like, "Yeah, but no one brings us any food." Like,
yeah, they need to start doing that.
They need to start doing it. So why don't you tell everyone who you guys are?
My name's Victor Adame. I am Riverside native, screenwriter, actor, producer, and
I'm Breanna Adame. I'm his sister, in case you guys haven't gathered that. But I'm the actor on the film, also an actor. So yeah, we've just been teaming up together. He had this screenplay going he's been writing it since 2019, and we're finally in a position where we're going to push it forward, and we're just putting it out there, and you invited us here.
Yeah,
we're super excited. And
so what made you even start? Have you always been a writer? Is it like something that you've always kind of been good at, or?
I mean, like, so her and I would grow up together, and we just were like always interested in kind of the arts growing up. And like when we were younger, she was like very much so a dictator. She would make us like our form of playing when we were younger was just like recreating these music videos and making short films and stuff like that. So I like naturally really liked it. Mm-hmm. And then just like as I got older, I don't know, something about it really stuck with me. We would go to Universal Studios all the time. And it's as like cliche as it sounds, that just like really, I don't know, inspired me. And I just liked the ability to storytell. And then when I was in high school, and you're from Riverside, we're from Riverside. We went to Ramona. And Ramona, surprisingly, I love Ramona, but despite all it is, they have this really good film program.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so I was able to do that because she did it. My brother did it. So I did it. And then being the youngest sibling, I, of course, was very competitive. So I was like, I'm going to do it longer than you guys. Better, yeah. So I just like really gravitated towards it. And then I was also a really nerdy kid. Took nothing but like AP and honor classes growing up. And then so when I was going to go to college, I was like, should I go for like a STEM related subject or film? Anyway, I chose film. It was the best decision ever.
Where did you go to college at?
My undergrad was at UC Irvine, and then grad school Chapman. I just got my MFA in screenwriting like a year ago.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's
I appreciate
awesome.
that. Thanks.
Awesome. Is it kind of weird, because you guys, the little backstory about you guys we were talking about before the podcast, like your whole family's from Casablanca, and obviously that's not like, that part of it. People don't realize that, back in the day that was kind of a rough spot to grow up on.
Yeah.
Like, how was the support from your family kind of going down this route that I assume you're probably the first people in your guys' family to like take on these kind of things?
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm the first like male in my family to go directly from college from high school. And so of course, like our family didn't normally have that route, but thankfully a lot of people before us have like really paved the way. Like our parents went back to school when they were older, my great grandma as well. But yeah, I mean, like for the most part, I mean, they've been really supportive. My grandma tells me all the time that I made the wrong decision and that I'm praying. She's praying every day for me to change my mind.
You walk in the house, there's candles going on.
Literally, yeah.
It's just like,
that's the vibe.
No, for real, yeah.
But I mean, thankfully my parents are supportive, and like it's something that I think excites them because in instances like this story is like directly based on our past.
Family,
yeah. So I think they're able to see themselves in it, and I think that makes them feel good in a narcissistic way, but I mean, I'm like, it gives me the fuel to keep going.
Yeah. Because it's like all combined from so many stories we've heard, growing up from our family specifically. So yeah, it's cool, and I think they're excited to just see everything combined into one film, and they're excited for sure. They're excited.
Are they nervous? You think? Are they nervous for you?
I think we're more nervous
you
than
guys
they
are.
are
excited.
because of the fact that it's like we hope we portray them in the way that they want them to, and the way it actually is. It's tough portraying people from real life events. It's tough, but
it's a level of responsibility I think you like innately have to have. But thankfully, I mean, they're like, again, they're so excited about it, especially the event. I have a feeling that like 70% of the people will be like their friends who they've just been like recruiting. But I mean, they're excited about it, and I think it's really cool to see that they're into it.
So what made you guys have like the confidence to take it from like a piece of paper to like put it on film, and then like to obviously continue pushing this? Because like there's probably a lot of people that have written stuff,
right?
So what do you think it was that kind of really helped you guys push to the next level to like get it actually going?
Yeah, well, for me, like I've mentioned, I've been writing for years, and I mean, it's just something that I've always done, and I have a portfolio of like a whole bunch of different features and television pilots and shorts and all of that. But thankfully, this feature that I wrote, I would submit it, I show it to people and submit it to like festivals, and I started winning awards for this project more than others. So it kind of gave me just a
That
validation,
little
like
confidence that
yeah,
like, oh,
exactly.
other people think it's good.
Exactly. Yeah. It was really cool to hear that. And then I went to school with this producer and she was really into the film and we're producing it together. So I mean that really gave it the extra momentum on top of the awards. And then from there we just decided that like, okay, we have this film, like you mentioned, so many people have scripts, but like what sets your script apart from anyone else? It could be the quality of it, but really it's just like the work you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, we were like, okay, we have to take the next step on our own. And for us, that was like making a proof of concept. So that's like a short film, like a 5-minute version of the whole film. And that's what we just finished this February, or we filmed this February. And that's what the event's about. And thankfully, like ever since we decided that we were going to, go forward with it, we've gotten a lot of people to support us and we've gotten a great cast and crew.
And it's funny that, I mean, obviously when you're doing anything yourself, you're always your biggest critic. But I mean, he's been writing this since 2019, and I've been telling him since like the first draft, second, third, so on, like, this is a really good screenplay. Like, you can definitely, turn this into a feature film. And he's like, yeah, but we're not ready yet. We're not ready yet. So this has been going on for years. And we finally got to the place about a year ago where I was like, look, you've been winning all these awards. Like, you've been getting attention from people. Like, what else do you want to be ready? Like, yeah. So he's like, finally, he's like, okay, you know what?
So is your big sister who bullied you into doing
literally,
this?
Essentially,
yeah. I brought
that's
up
how most of my life
is this how, like, so I have 3 stepkids, and my oldest daughter's 16 or about to be 16, and then we have 2 younger sons, and they're fully they're from like right on the border of Mexico, whatever. And it's the same way. Like the 6-year-old just bullies the little brothers around.
Yeah,
and they just take it. I'm like, when are you gonna stand up to your sister? They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell her. And then like, hey, can you do this for me? Yeah, I'll go do that for you. I'm like, what is this?
That's how it goes.
Is that just culturally?
Yeah.
My sister's older than me, and I just tell her to pound sand. Is it like, Adrian? Is your same in your family? Oh my god!
There's this
so white people, like whites, we just we tell our sisters.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Well, you know what? Growing up, I would always. I mean, he says dictate, but I would always we were into movies and all that. Yeah, and I'd be like, do this, do that, and he would listen. But now he's mean.
You're mean.
Like you have to be.
You drop the hammer.
Exactly. That's what you got to do. Start acting white, and it works.
Exactly.
Start acting white. Yeah,
rubs off on you guys.
Yeah, he's mean now. Like he doesn't listen to me anymore. So I was surprised when he was like, okay, let's push this forward now.
Wow.
But yeah.
So how do you guys handle that? Like brother and sister. This is obviously it could be a big project moving forward. How do you guys balance? Is there a time where you like turn it on and off?
No.
No.
I think that for us it's more casual. I mean, we're like really close. So like, I mean, he's my best friend. And so throughout the day and all of that, like we always hold each other accountable, especially with acting. I mean, we both act aside from his screenwriting. So, I mean, sometimes he'll walk into my room and say like, well, do you have any auditions? Have you been auditioning? Like we hold each other accountable, which is cool. But then also like we're so close that, we have a normal brother-sister relationship at the same time. Is
it fully consuming right now? Like you guys filmed in February, like,
oh yeah.
Is it just like 24/7
to
like,
for sure.
Because the big thing I've always wanted to do with this podcast is obviously there's probably someone else that hopefully will watch this will have a screenplay. Yeah. But I also want them to know like you're not gonna just like put a screenplay and then throw a video together and like so like for you guys like how much work has it been to get it all going?
Yeah. Well,
like honestly, you know what I mean?
It's a lot of work. I mean, even before we got to film the proof of concept in February, it was only like a 3-day shoot. But before that, my producer and I were working on it since like October. And that meant like weekly meetings. And when we weren't having meetings, it was like looking at where we could, rent the costumes at. We were doing location scouts. We were doing meetings to figure out like exactly who we needed. And we spoke to like however many cinematographers and auditioning actors.
Adrian, you didn't get a call? Man.
Now that we can use you for Saturday.
Yes, Adrian.
Give us your business card. He did a movie once. What was that movie called, Adrian? Remember the chair that you had to like edit out the whole chair? The car chair? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was a movie that never got released.
Oh no, when I first met him, he was
NDA.
When I first met him, he was working on this show, and like I watched him edit. Like they shot this video. It was so weird. I don't know how no it's like they had this ugly chair cover. It had this like stars and music and stuff. I saw him. They're like, yeah, we really need you to edit that out, and it took him like 3 weeks to edit this one little thing out. So I've seen the process of like post.
Yeah.
I've watched him do it.
So this guy's good then.
Oh, he has some works, but yeah. So okay, so you went out. How did you guys pick who you were gonna have film it?
So basically, I mean, it's just like visual style, and thankfully, our cinematographer,
Who is it?
Her name's Izzy O'Brien.
Yeah,
Love
shout
her.
out. There you go.
We were part of, if you're familiar with the Academy, who hosts the Oscars, we were both part of this internship that Academy hosted. And so I met Izzy, I saw her work, and I thought she was like great. And I always wanted to work with her. And so when it came down to like finding our official DP, cinematographer, I showed our director and producer, like, this is who I think we should go with. They loved her work, and we met with her. And the good thing is she had experience in Riverside. Her family, some of her family's from here too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Inland Empire, Riverside, one of the two.
Right,
It's,
right.
it's close enough, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, her work, it just like really fit the vibe of what we were going for, kind of like a dreamy and soft quality, because that's what we wanted to do with this film. I mean, to kind of rewrite stereotypes in a way that like humanizes our community.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, her work just really does that. And I mean, if you look at any still, you could definitely see that she's just really gifted, and we're lucky to have her.
Yeah. Are you guys both still in Riverside?
We are.
Yes.
Yeah. He
What was the
moved.
reason of not going to LA?
Why would you leave Riverside?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
kidding.
he the proof of concept was actually filmed in
It was,
LA.
yeah.
But for the feature film, we want to move back to Riverside and film the entire feature film here.
Mhm.
We're gonna make sure of that. But yeah, I mean, LA's obviously easier to film a full length feature film,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's sentimental, you know.
Well, the hard
That's
part
true.
I've noticed about Riverside is like we used to do daily vlogs and I'll go and shoot stuff. Like people just look at you weird here.
Mhm.
They're like in LA, you see someone with
yeah.
a camera, you're like, whatever.
Normal.
That's
Or
true.
like
it's
New York
normal.
or whatever. But here, it's like
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
walking down the street with a camera in your face, or
Yeah.
like he was videotaping me, people are like, what are they doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Like
even
it's not normalized
yeah,
here.
and even there's so many more opportunities for sound stages and all that in LA.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, then at the end of the day, like, also, you have to factor in that LA is such a crowded
Uh-huh.
environment. So, like, here, I mean, if you're renting a park, you have to, like, wait for the park to be available in LA. Whereas, like, you go to Fairmount Park and, like,
Yeah.
you could set up a camera there.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
room
No one
for
even
sure.
know.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
you need help, I'll call the mayor for you guys. No big deal.
Yeah,
But
for
like,
sure.
so for you guys, so how long did it take? Like you guys shot that 5 minutes. So you shot 3 days.
Yes.
And then how long were you guys in post on that thing?
Well,
We're
actually,
still in
technically,
post.
we're still in post. Yeah, I'm just, like, really picky when it
Have
comes
you shown
to
people it?
I have, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I haven't shown my family yet. I've just...
Oh, you haven't shown your parents?
No, not
Wow.
yet. Yeah, they're
Okay.
gonna... We have an event coming, and they will see the day
You
of
want
the event.
Okay, so you want it to be like a surprise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that or...
Have you seen it? I assume
Of
you've
course,
seen it.
yeah,
I've seen it,
yeah.
But yeah, we've been in like heavy post right now. I mean, the score, I mean, our composer is great, and we're just trying to make sure like that is exactly on par with like the editing style we want to go with, and all that just takes a lot of time. And then of course too, I mean, everyone's like trying their hardest, so it takes a lot of work. But I mean, I'm just a nitpicky person.
For
But
sure.
I mean, yeah, there's just like always small changes, like the font, the size, and
It's ready. He's
Yeah.
just very.
yeah, it's ready. I'll
perfectionist.
give it.
How do you balance your relationship with your producer? Like, do you guys have the last say, or are you guys pretty 50-50?
Yeah, well, thankfully, my producer, she knew that going into this project,
That
it
you're
was like
picky?
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought
I'm the dictator now. No, not at all. I think just because like this project's so personal to me, because like I mentioned, it's based on my family and our stories. And when it comes to the feature, I mean, I'll act in it as well. And my producer knew going into that I had that personal connection to it. So she's really open to the fact that, you know, I might be like little, not overbearing. I don't know what the appropriate word
No,
is,
that's
but I mean,
appropriate.
Yeah, it's perfect. Right about. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
exactly. But just very vocal about what I wanted this project
For
to
sure.
be. So I really had the room to do that, which I really appreciate.
That's awesome. So for you, like, are you doing other things, other acting, or?
Yeah. I have agent, manager, and I've been auditioning and all of that. So him too. We both have, our separate agents and managers that we've been, working with. But for now, we're just really focusing on this event. I mean, sometimes life gets busy and like, auditions. Sometimes I'll have like 10 auditions in the span of like 2 days, and sometimes I'll have like one every few days. So yeah, it just varies. I mean, as an actor, it's not steady work.
No, for sure.
obviously.
Well, it's just like being a real estate agent.
Yeah,
Well, they
no,
say you
it's-
do like 40 auditions before you get your first callback, so it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But Yeah, but my focus right now is definitely this film and just helping him because I also I have a degree in public relations,
All
so
right.
my main goal right now is helping him push this film out, and yeah, that's our main focus.
So are you guys
right now.
trying to use this like kind of this short film to get out there and possibly like get funding for the
Oh
full
yeah,
movie?
yeah, we're gonna have an investors like event or party. We're aiming for January, and that will be in LA because
Yeah,
the money's in
obviously.
LA,
Yeah.
obviously.
What's the reason of waiting that long?
Well, I mean, there's stuff we want to do in the meantime. Like from now until then, there's a lot of packaging that should be done. And so, like, if you're familiar with like film packaging, it's like where you reach out to your cast, your crew, and just kind of get them on board. So hopefully, with those letters of intent, you can build like a compelling package. And then they have film markets in the fall, like the American film market. And I feel like that's the kind of time where people will seek a lot of the funding, and people will know like, okay, this is.
Because you guys are gonna go put it out to try to get some awards or something.
yeah,
like
That's
that.
the plan.
sure,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a whole timeline of where he
Oh,
wants
really?
to go with this event. I mean, it ends with the Oscars in like
Yeah.
2027.
I
So
need to go back.
yeah, no, I mean, he has a whole timeline, and yeah, it's part of the process. And January is actually pretty early to have an investors event. And this event that's happening Saturday, it's more to have the entire community involved and to show investors, and like
That
other
there's a
people.
backing that people
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
see.
yeah,
it.
that people
Exactly,
want to
yeah.
see it. And then from there, then investors are obviously going to be more inclined to throw their money at the
Mhm.
film.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what this is like the first step into the feature film. And our goal is to film the whole feature spring of 25.
Do you guys have an idea what that would even cost?
Yeah, so we have a budget.
budget.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Do you want me to throw it out there?
Sure.
It's 1.5.
That's not bad.
No,
No,
in
it's
the
not
general
at
scope
all.
of film,
That's
it's
not bad at
very
all.
small.
Yeah, 1.5 is pretty small.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's the whole reason. I mean, Moonlight, I don't know if you're familiar with that film. It won an Oscar, and it was what was the budget for
I think it was
Moonlight?
initially like 1.2 and they went up to like 1.5, something like that.
So
Yeah.
there's this
Yeah.
whole wave of like indie films right now that are really low budget.
Well, yeah, because I think indie's like true now.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like
that's legit,
I mean,
yeah.
like the big films, like they
Mhm.
can't even make good stuff anymore.
Oh no,
Exactly, yeah.
no,
No.
indie's actually what, surprisingly nobody would have thought years ago, but indie's what is winning awards, making it to the Oscars. So
I think there's like less red tape, so it's like you're just like passionate, and then
Yeah.
you just make what you want to make.
yeah,
Exactly.
and it's cool though because like it gives low budget films an opportunity to be there with the big players.
Well, and
all
especially
that.
nowadays, I feel like with like YouTube and stuff like that, it's like your video, if it's good, like there's no like red tape or no barrier to
Oh,
entry
yeah.
anymore.
Totally.
You can just like totally. So I assume you guys are gonna throw it out all that through those places.
Oh yeah, for
Totally.
sure.
So for you guys, like, how was it to like pick what stories? Obviously, there's so many. Probably your family probably had like a
Mhm.
million stories. How do you pick which ones to like put in on it?
Yeah, so like I always tell people that like as a writer, whenever I go to any family party, wherever I go, people are like
Great.
throwing.
Now, if this does well, your whole family's gonna be like hanging out with you. Be like, I have this great story.
Yeah.
Well,
Put me in on it. Put me in,
For real.
put me in the sequel.
Well, the thing is that happens. I mean, everyone's just pitching ideas to me, and for the most part, there are these like campy ideas that I would never, kind of.
You're like,
help.
yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, for some reason, like the dark stuff, like the more serious subject matter, I think it's really interesting because I think the stuff that I've experienced in my life, I see that my relatives have as well. So when those stories are pitched to me to be like feature ideas, one time I made like an actual like list. I listed every story that has been pitched to me and every character, and I found some repetition in there. And so I was like, well, if I combine these characters and these stories, I can create like a linear narrative story. And so for me, it was just like finding everything that matches. But again, I have a whole portfolio of projects, so there's
Yeah.
other stuff that I didn't get to touch with this
Are you
project.
still working on other things?
Yeah. I'm working with there's this Hispanic company called NHMC, National Hispanic Media Coalition, and every year they host this TV writers program. They select 10 writers. I was one of the 10 selected this year, thankfully, and so I'm developing a pilot right now with them.
Nice.
And so that also is like kind of based on stuff that my family has experienced.
Mhm.
But so yeah, I have a lot of projects in the air. It's overwhelming, but
How do you guys handle like the stress of like putting yourself so far out there? You know what I mean? Like when you're writing something where people can be critical, or you're putting yourself on camera and your hand. How do you push through that? Because I feel like that's really what separates, like because
Mhm.
there's like
Yeah.
blocks, that
Mhm.
people hit. So like for you, like how do you handle like okay, I'm having to act like, okay, I just got done shooting this for my family. I'm supposed to be some type of person. Like, am I giving it? Like, how do you stay true to that? If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's hard to play different roles when, one gets more recognition than the other and vice versa. But, I mean, for this one specifically, I definitely think that I'm putting my all into this role because I feel like it's the most relatable to me. And I mean, other roles I audition for, I kind of try to play like, I play around with it where it's like, that's not really me, that is me,
Yeah.
because that's the point of acting, you don't really act your own character. But for this one specifically, the main storyline is actually something very, very personal to us. Our brother is actually in prison. And this is kind of, I mean, the storyline itself isn't, exactly aligned, but the sibling, the family dynamic, all of that. I mean, what we went through. Sometimes I, read the screenplay, or even when we were filming the proof of concept, I was like, wow, like it feels like I'm living back in the moment of like when we experienced that. So it's easier to
tap into it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it really just depends, but this one definitely hits home more than other roles that I've played.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, like when you get done, like after you shoot something, you're like, okay, I nailed it. Or like, oh no, that needs, like, how do you self-evaluate yourself in that
I never
moment?
do. I never feel like I nailed it. I think that like, yeah, like I said, you're your biggest critic.
Yeah.
But I think that like for me, it's always like, like you could do better. Oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I should have made a different choice for that. But at the end of the day, like you kind of have to just let it go.
Yeah.
And
Did you sleep those 3 days you were shooting? Or were you just nervous Nelly the whole time?
The thing about me is I'm always stressed, so I've kind of learned to manage that. Yeah,
it's scary. I don't think people understand like sometimes we've lost stuff like on hard drives and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It is like scared. Like I don't think people understand the nerves of like when you shoot something, like, okay, have a backup and then have another backup and then it's in a cloud. Like
because
like
you don't realize how much goes into like one scene alone. Like you have to bring the whole team together again. So
just to do one shot.
Exactly.
It's scary.
Yeah, we had like a whole team of people, so I can't imagine losing all of that footage and then having to do it all again. Like, oh my God.
I'm too nervous sometimes. Even like I've had to do sometimes podcasts with Adrian not here, and I'm like the whole podcast I can't stop thinking like, did I turn the cameras on? Are the cameras still running? Like, did I turn the mics on?
Oh, so
like,
you'll handle it by yourself if he's not here?
Sometimes, very rare. Very rare. We try to do it. I mean, I'm very free with him because like if he has a gig or like some people will hit him up to like go shoot like music videos or whatever. I'll be like, yeah, go do that. Or if it's someone like one time I had to do like who did I have on that could only come on Saturdays at the time? Jay from Riv. He came on here and he could only do Saturdays, so I don't like bringing him on Saturdays. So I was like, yeah, no worries. And like the whole podcast, like, hopefully the cameras are on. Hopefully the mics
have you
on.
Forgot to turn it on? Has that ever happened?
I forgot to hit the recorder one time. It was an hour in and I looked down. So have you ever seen me looking down? That's just me triple checking myself as on, right? Or like I could still see
an hour in.
Oh my gosh. I forgot it was not on. And I went, oh shit.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
And I go, well, there's an hour wasted.
So what did you do?
We turned it on and then we pulled the audio from the cameras. So it was like kind of grainy. He can pull some stuff out. So it was you could totally tell when the mic turned on because it was like kind of like sound like I was talking in like a hallway and then all of a sudden I was like, oh hey, what's up, right?
Yeah.
So we just did that. I mean, it is what it is. But like I've lost podcasts before. But they just something happened to him.
Yeah.
He lost. Adrian, was that a music video you lost once? He had a hard drive where he lost a whole music video that was shot in Mexico. And he was editing.
In Mexico, a
whole thing. So like we've been in here, so that's how I kind of know your pain. Like we've been sitting here before, and we've always kind of worked in the same office, like in the same room. We had a bigger office down the street a few years ago, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "It's gone. It's gone. The music video's gone." I go, "Yeah, let's go reshoot." He's like, "They shot it in Mexico. It's gone. I don't have it anymore."
Oh my gosh! So you just have to be at peace with it then.
What did you do on that one? Did you just eat it?
No. I think what happened, the hard drive, it was a spinning drive and it just died.
Yeah, but did we just eat that? You just ate that music video.
I just had to call him and be like, hey.
It's gone.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
Everyone
a worst
makes mistakes.
nightmare.
It's fine.
No,
that's a worst nightmare.
It's so scary.
I'm trying to uplift him.
Yeah, no. It was a long time ago. It was years ago.
Yeah.
They hired him back. Yeah, they hired him
nice.
back. It's good.
Check the cameras, make sure they're on.
But that's like the things
that
that people
happens,
don't understand. It's like that like fear factor. Like now it's all digital. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, and even as far as when you have so many people working on the project, it's like, is everyone going to show up? You know, that slight fear, and like sometimes you might lose some. I was working on a film one time. Thankfully, I was just the actor. But the day before, I think one of the actors tested positive for COVID and was super sick, and she was the lead too. So she had so they had to completely like redo the script to make it that day. And I was just like, I'm glad this isn't my problem to figure out. I'm just tell me where to stand.
He's like, if anyone shows up sick during my music video.
Yeah.
So what's the big plan for Friday, right? It's Friday, right?
Saturday.
I'm sorry. Friday, we were talking about that. So for Saturday, what's the big plan for the event?
So we're having an event at the Casablanca Home of Neighborly Services, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And ultimately, we're going to screen the proof of concept at the end of it. But throughout the night, we have like vendors planned, and we have a DJ, and we have some speakers, people who kind of live the story that we're telling, just giving insight and hopefully inspiring people out there. Mm-hmm. And it's just a community event to get people involved and to make people excited that there's a project that kind of reflects them.
Yeah, it's kind of their voice.
Yeah. It's gonna, we're gonna have, I mean, like he mentioned, guest speakers.
Who do you guys are guest speakers?
A lot of like family members and people within the community. So it's like our dad's
within
one of the
Casablanca, people who have experience. I mean, my dad's one of them. I mean, he's amazing. He grew up in a gang affiliated neighborhood, Casablanca.
Yeah.
And he was involved in all of that. And then once he had kids, I mean, me and him, then, all that, then he really turned his life around, and now he's a therapist, you know? Wow. So, so he's a fully licensed therapist now. And it's just like, we really want to inspire the community because we don't want to focus it so much on like the gang affiliated aspect of it. We want people to see that like, you can come from this environment, but you can also make it out of there and pursue other things. I mean, my mom as well, like she was also, like she's going to kill me for saying this, but like
so she was involved in all
she was involved in all of that too. And like now she's a school counselor. So it's like, so
the whole story is just about like family and, making life choices that reflect those you love and uplifting them, doing what you can in your own life to make the right choices for others. And so the speakers that we have, they all like really turn their lives around. So we hope that there's sense of like
giving hope. I think too many people think like, oh, I lived here, or I was born this way, or I'm born in this family. Like, this is the transition, and it's crazy too to think like you were mentioning earlier about like how your brother's in jail, like how like people can grow up in the same family, and go two different paths,
right?
And like it is you still have a choice at the end of the day.
Exactly. So we're gonna have guest speakers. We're gonna also have a couple guests of honor. Jay from the Riv will be there. He just confirmed. Mark from Riverside, Juan Navarro. So we're gonna have people cheat pending.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Pending. It's a 50-50 right now.
He pops in every once in a while. He was at the grind the other day. He just randomly wanders around. I think he just wanders around Riverside now. He's like, I got a building with my name on it. I can just kind of do whatever I want.
Exactly. So he as of right now it's a 50-50. So show up and maybe he'll be there, maybe he won't. But so it's gonna be cool. We're gonna screen the trailer, the official trailer.
Were you guys shocked the support you guys have gotten outside? Obviously you're like, everyone's like, oh, of course my family's gonna support me, but like outside of that, have you guys been shocked at all, or kind of like
absolutely? I mean, even when we were planning this event back in February, I was like, well, I think we should have an event, and he's like, well, we're not ready, of course. And I was like, no, we should definitely have an event. But when I was saying have an event, I was thinking like like
people.
Like my family, and like the community of Casablanca, and then now that like everyone's reaching out and everybody wants to like join in and be a part and support. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know what Saturday is going to look like. I mean, it could go obviously either way, but I'd
tell you, but throwing an event is one of the scariest things in the world. Until you throw, I'll tell you this. If I ever tell someone I'm coming to their event, I never don't show up. And people go like, why do you do that? And I go, because I've been the one throwing the event. It's scary that you're like, we're all 12 again, right? Like you're throwing a birthday party that no one shows up. And like you got tons of pizza. Right?
Literally,
and no one shows up, and you're like,
it's
sweet.
Scary,
It's so
like,
nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and like right now, at first I was like, oh, like maybe, we're gonna have a few people. It was iffy, but now I'm just like, I think we're gonna have a good amount of people show up. So I'm nervous because I'm like, do we have enough space? Do we have enough vendors and all that?
How many people can that place fit anyways?
Not a lot.
Yeah, well,
probably over 100.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
about 100. I'd say maybe a little over. But I'm also a little nervous that we might have a lot more than that. So I'm like, I hope that, we have enough space for all of that.
Is it free come, free serve, or what is it? What time is it at?
7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
9:30.
Yeah. So it's free. You don't have to sign up. You can sign up through Eventbrite to be entered in like a tattoo raffle and all of that. But
Adrian, we getting tattoos this weekend?
If you get lucky.
Yeah.
But if not, like you can just show up with whoever you want. It's not like a limited amount of people. But yeah, we're excited. I'm expecting a decent turnout.
I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Are you gonna be there?
Yeah, I will make it. Adrian, put it on my schedule.
Oh, he just said he will make it, so that means he will be
Adrian
there.
too.
Yeah.
What do we have on
Adrian,
Saturday?
Adrian, you better be there too.
I don't think I haven't taken Saturday. It's funny because you guys tell these stories because like I come from a family like my great grandfather came over from Germany and I had one grandparent and the other one like I have one aunt, one cousin. That's it.
Wow.
That's all I got. One aunt, one cousin, one brother.
Are you okay?
I struggle. But then my soon to be wife, she has like we just had her aunt come over and she had brought her 4 kids and then I'm like, whose aunt is she on what side of the family?
Yeah.
Like,
are they Mexican?
Yeah, she's.
Oh, they roll deep. Yeah, we roll deep.
That's what I'm saying. She's
Yeah.
full Mexican. Like she's from like she grew up like right on the border of Mexico and Arizona. Like her whole family still lives in the small town.
Oh wow,
like,
yeah. That's the thing. I was like, well, I mean, if all goes, if all fails, at least we'll have a big amount of our family be there,
Like, it's just so
can,
crazy. I'm like trying to process. I'm like, can I get like a spreadsheet or like a tree? Because I'm like, okay, whose side of family?
Wait, you're telling me she never made you a family tree?
No, she needs a separate.
Oh,
maybe after we get married, then she will.
Maybe,
like, she's like, okay. But like, and then it's like, okay, well, that guy's not really my uncle, but he's like my third cousin, but we call him uncle. I'm like, okay, well, so who's that? Like, it's so hard. And then I don't speak any Spanish. And so for like, her aunt only speaks Spanish.
Oh.
So for 2 straight days, I'm just sitting there like.
And you said she was staying with you, right?
Stayed with us.
Oh, okay.
Stayed with us.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah.
So I'm just sitting
That's
there
awkward.
like. I was like, hey, what's up? So she'll like translate for me. But it's crazy that like the lineage and the stories and like, she's told me stuff about like someone disappearing in Mexico and then people made some calls and then he just showed up a day later. Like, I'm like, what?
It's too much to follow up with.
Dude, I can't even keep up with it. And then it's like, they just would bounce. Like, we were in high school. We would just bounce into Mexico and we'd go to the clubs and then we'd come back. And then we like her grandma.
And you're here with your one aunt and your
like,
one cousin.
My one cousin and grandma, we have a piñata and it's like 7 of us at a party. You know what I mean? And then you guys stay up so late. I can't handle it. I can't handle the other day.
Oh yeah, those family parties go hard.
It's so late.
Yeah.
I literally the other day it was like we got to the beach at 5. I'm like, it's already late. And then we like got home at 9 and they're like, yeah, you're gonna grill up the carne asada, right? And I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. Like I'm ready for bed. I went to sleep. They were up until 4 a.m.
Oh yeah, those parties never.
They never
end.
stop. It wasn't even a party. It was just people at our house for the weekend.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep up.
You got to get used to it though.
You
better draw that family tree yourself.
The problem is I need a pre-nap. Like if this is gonna happen, I'm pre-napping.
Pre-nap, pre-game.
Yeah, exactly. They just love, man. They just party, dude. They just love it.
Yeah.
Never stop.
It's worse when you all live in the same neighborhood. Our family, we all live in the same neighborhood too, so it's like never ending. It's
so you guys just pop into each other
all the time.
And when he says same neighborhood, I literally mean like street over street over street. Like everyone is around the corner from each other. So
So you guys will never. So you guys will never leave Riverside, you don't think then?
Well, the thing is, it's funny because I mean, growing up, I've always imagined myself living in LA as an adult. Because of the industry I want to work in. But I think as I'm maturing more, like I want, my family to be around my family.
Yeah.
Like I want to build a family around my family, and they're not ever leaving Riverside. So I mean, maybe I'll do like the pop in and out type of thing. But I don't know about you.
I feel the same way. Honestly, like LA, it's fine for like work. I was just talking in the writers program that I was in. We were talking to this one TV writer who said that she's a showrunner, and one of her staff writers lives in Arizona, and like she'll come to LA for a couple of months just throughout the year to do like writing and meetings, and she'll go back to Arizona. I think that's a great way to live. I would be so content doing that in Riverside. Just working when you can, then coming back and having this as your home base. It's the backyard of Hollywood. It's just.
Well, the thing I think how with COVID was like it's okay not to meet in person.
Yeah,
Zoom, like before it's like everyone wanted to meet in person.
Even auditioning for acting. I mean, before most of the auditions were like in person, and now it's like Zoom meetings
Oh,
or like
really?
self tapes and all
senior
that.
taping?
Like, oh yeah. Like
Oh.
the majority of them,
Are all
funny
set
enough,
to, like-
yeah, I'd say like
Oh.
80% are
Really?
now. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it definitely changed the game. COVID. Shout out to COVID.
Yeah, dude. Like it's like everyone always wanted to meet in person. Now it's like very anyone wants to meet in person. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But then everyone wanted to do Zooms. I'm like, we could just do a phone call.
Yeah.
Like Zoom.
They
Old
want to
school.
see you
Yeah.
face to face.
I'm like, can I? Yeah, they're like, we got to get on Zoom, and I'm like, I'm driving. Can I just call you? Like, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
So, what other projects do you have coming up that you kind of are super excited about? Anything?
well,
Other
on
than
top,
this, obviously, we got one we're focusing on, but
yeah. Well, on top of this, I mean, of course, going into the feature film,
Mhm.
I have the pilot that I'm working on. I'm really excited about it.
Is there an idea behind that pilot yet, or no?
Yeah. So it's titled "We Were Kings," and it's just a story about this guy who was in prison for 30 years, who's suddenly released, and it's about his struggle to rehabilitate into his family. It's a family drama. I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've been wanting to tell for a long time, especially because we have so many family members who have been like recently coming out of prison,
Mhm.
and just seeing how tough it is sometimes to just rehabilitate and find comfortability within your family unit and within society. It's always been really interesting for me, who's been on the outside of that, but just seeing those people come in. So I have that pilot that I'm writing, television pilot. I also have another feature that's like, very campy and crazy. It's a story about street fighting. So that'll be my next feature. But
Throw a comedy in there one time.
that
dude.
is a
Yeah.
comedy. It is.
Oh, it is a
It's a
comedy.
dark comedy
Oh,
about street fighting.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Street fighting and depression.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
Mental health.
Mental health.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that
Yeah.
one.
Did you ever think about leaning into writing, or you've always wanted to just be a
Me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I
Yeah.
don't have the patience. I mean, he will literally spend his entire day behind a laptop typing.
Oh, you like? Do you type a laptop?
I do. Yes.
I had a guy one in time come in here. Adrian, what was his name? The typewriter guy. Anyways, he does typewriters, right?
Oh, really?
He
Okay.
recreates typewriters.
Oh, that's
and he
sick.
was telling me, it was actually a really cool statement that I've never heard before. He goes, I have certain typewriters based on how I want to write that day.
Oh, nice.
He's written books and stuff. And he goes,
Uh-huh.
so he's like, I feel there's certain typewriters that just pull, like if I want to write like something more dark and angry,
Yeah.
I have a typewriter that's like hits harder. And, like,
Oh, that's
or
sick.
if I want to write something softer, like, and he goes, in typewriters, the only thing that is yours.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Yeah.
it's just yours. Like, no one can steal it from you. It can't get leaked
Yeah.
out anywhere. He
Mhm.
goes, but he's like, yeah, I have like 6 typewriters, and like I change which one I want to write on.
Unless it
That's
got caught on fire or
On
something.
a kind of fire, yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. But at least no one still has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No one
yeah,
still
that's
has it.
true.
That's
yeah.
true.
But he was like, nowadays it's like, you write something online, and all of a sudden
Mhm.
someone hacks it or whatever.
That could
Yeah.
totally happen.
Do you
Yeah.
share your stuff before? Like, when do you feel comfortable like letting someone, or do you have someone that that reads them? for
well,
you?
She reads a lot of my stuff, and I have a couple of friends who are also writers, and I'll send stuff to them. But again, it takes so much time to like feel comfortable with what I write, so it's always like the third draft that I'll eventually
I don't
send
even
to
like
people.
people reading my text messages. I couldn't
Right? I
imagine,
know.
I couldn't imagine someone reading a whole story of mine. I'm like, don't read that. I use ChatGPT to write our Instagram descriptions now. I'm like, it wasn't me, it was
Yeah.
Chat.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've read like 15 different versions of this film we're working on
Mhm.
now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are they big changes, or are they just like slight changes, or how do you,
Yeah, it
or
depends.
do you like have you every time you like, shh, we're starting over?
With this story, thankfully, no. But with other stories, totally. I've done that so many times.
I could go crazy. Like, I
Yeah,
just,
you can.
like, you imagine, like, especially probably you're like, yeah, that's really good. You're like, it sucks. And you're like, dude, that was good. What
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing this
Well,
year?
that probably would have happened to this project if she wasn't really pushing forward to like do this event and really push it forward. But yeah, you always get trapped in that because you never think something's ready, and that's
Ugh.
why deadlines are good. You have to just throw it out there.
That's why I love doing this. Because there's
Yeah.
like no, like, I can't,
Uh-huh.
like, I mean, we've definitely had some bad ones. Like, there's
okay.
definitely some bad
Really?
Oh my
Wait,
God.
what makes a podcast bad? What do you? What
when
would you
people
say?
don't talk.
Oh, really?
Is this bad?
No, this is great. But when people don't talk,
Oh, okay.
or they don't talk fast, they talk too short. And because the reason why people don't ever think about this, but when you talk short, like if I ask you a question, you talk short, you're not giving me time to rethink and direct the
Uh-huh.
conversation another way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I
yeah.
go like, "Hey, how's writing?" You're like, "Good." Okay. So that I don't have
Well,
time.
you've actually had like
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mhm. They get really scared. They get really nervous.
Uh huh.
That's why we always like kind of chat before, and I kind of like warm people up. But yes,
Yeah,
we've had
yeah.
some people. We've had a few we just didn't post because we're just like, it's
Oh,
not-
you just don't post them?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
wow.
they've asked us like, "Where is it?" And I was like, "They don't know this."
Lost
is
the footage.
Lost footage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've admitted. We've said.
Oh,
we
they
lost-
know it now.
Yeah, I mean they're not gonna. They're probably upset. They don't watch it.
Yeah.
But like yeah. So what people don't understand is like a good. People are like, "Oh, I'm so nervous." I'm like, just talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you talk, I'll lead you. I'll
The
get you-
conversation.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
I'll get you to where we need to go.
Mhm.
But when people are just like, and they don't say
Yeah.
anything, it's like,
Yeah. It's like, what's the point of
Did
a
anyone
podcast?
get how many people are going to be in the short film, like acting?
The trailer
Yeah,
or
like the thing on Friday or
Oh, okay.
Saturday. I'm sorry.
So basically, we have like some like background and like smaller roles, but the principal family, like the characters in the story, there are 5.
5.
Yeah,
Mhm.
including us too. Yeah.
So you guys are both in it. I
Yeah.
knew she was in it, but you're in it.
Yes.
Okay. Did anyone get nervous that like when the camera actually came on?
No, because we use professional actors.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think really what helped us was like literally before we all met on the day that we were starting to shoot. Actually, I mean, I met everyone because I was kind of behind the scenes, so I knew everyone. But we were supposed to play like this close knit family, and of course, when you're random people who don't know each
Yeah.
other, that's hard. But our director made us do these like weird like warm up exercises before we started rolling, where we were like staring in each other's eyes and saying weird stuff. Anyway, that really helped because as soon as the camera started rolling, we had that sense of comfortability around each other, and everyone was just really supportive. And I think we were all just excited about the project. But it helps to be weird before cameras start.
What I mean by professional actors is like people who have
Done it
acted-
before.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
trained actors was
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely had a good director who would kind of, like guide everyone and get everyone comfortable with each other. Because I mean,
Mhm.
being on camera is one thing, but also like having that connection with other people on screen is different. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there where do you kind of pull your do you pull your like acting skills from anyone? Do you idolize someone like when their films come out? You're like, oh, I really like watching their stuff. No,
oh, me
That's you.
personally, yeah,
Yes, you.
no, I mean, yeah, I have a
he's the writer. You're the actress. I like,
yeah, I have a lot of inspirations. I mean, I think one of my favorite actors is Emma Stone, and it's funny because she's a comedy actor, but for me, I fall more under like the drama, but I just love how natural she is in front of the camera, and like I mean, she has a balance of like drama, comedy, all of that. So definitely Emma Stone, one of them. I mean, there's so many actors that I look up to when I'm, even as far as like my own ethnicity, a lot of them.
Who do you think sucks? Who do you think
DC
is not
sucks?
good? That gets a lot of film?
he got mad at me the last podcast because I was about to name drop, and he was like, "No," he's like, "Do not name drop any show." So I can't.
Okay.
I always end up knowing people from the bad project, so it's kind of like I can't say anything.
Yeah, so I can't. Yeah. I mean, yes, but I can't.
Yeah. Are you ever worried about maybe doing too many of the same roles and then kind of getting casted in that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I mean, they say like even when you're training for acting, they're like it's good to have the same kind of role and like fall under the same category because you get booked more.
Mhm.
But also like as a human being, you don't want to be portrayed as the same thing over and over and over. So, there's a balance for
Yeah.
sure. There's definitely a balance.
Do you ever get weird DMs of people like wanting to be in their short films, but they're not like
wanting me to be in
Yeah.
their short films?
never
Yeah,
happened to you? Like we're like weird people are like, hey, I see you're an actress. You want to be in my film? You're
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
No.
For sure. Even like auditions, even emails, all of that. Because I mean, my emails are public with my
Yeah.
agency and all of that. So yeah, for sure. But I typically just don't really respond.
Never know. This
Do you?
kidnapping scam.
Yeah.
I get those. They're scary. Yeah, you never know if
Yeah.
it's like legit or not. It's like,
It's
what if I show up
weird,
to this
right?
garage
Especially
and they
nowadays,
Yeah.
it's like everything's
Yeah.
so out there.
Yeah,
Like,
and some people are. I mean, I've gotten emails where they're like, "Oh, like full paid, like vacation flight, all of that, like just be in this film," and I'm like, no, like absolutely not.
it's called sex trafficking. That's what
Literally, yeah, no,
But it's
literally.
crazy. I
Yeah.
bet you people for
Totally.
sure fall for
That's
it.
yeah,
100%. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
I'm totally in on that.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
That's scary.
absolutely not.
Would there be anything you ever would turn down? Do you have like boundaries on films?
When I first started acting, I definitely think there were boundaries as far as like, what you put yourself on screen, like the
Mhm.
way you put yourself on screen,
Yeah.
like, without being explicit.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I think that like as I've matured and as I've grown, I've been able to be like, well, that's not too bad, or like that's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as of now, I definitely think I have less boundaries than I did when I first started. But I mean, there's always some boundaries.
I think it'd be hard if I was married to someone maybe not in the industry
Mhm.
and I had to do like a scene with a woman. I think that would be very difficult.
Well, I mean,
to pull.
I don't. I get where
Yeah.
because you're not in the industry, so
Yeah,
it's easy
exactly.
for you to say that. But
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
that
If-
yeah.
Like if someone's like, "Hey, I want you to be in a short film, and you're gonna do this scene," I'd be like,
Yeah.
that's not gonna fly."
Yeah, when it comes to like relationships and all that, I think that like there has to be that mutual understanding where it's like if I'm an actor, you're aware of that from the start, and you're also aware that like there's going to be scenes that you might be uncomfortable with, but like
we're just paying the bills.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think that if you're secure enough in the relationship, they won't care, you know, but there's also obviously people who aren't okay with that, and that's fine too. But I think you know, as an actress, you really have to be cautious of that when you're dating and all that.
Yeah. Is there any scenes, or are there any family stories that you're like, I don't want to put this in because I'm worried about how it's going to perceive the family?
Yeah, well, I mean, this entire film actually. I mean, it could go either way. I think
like, is that a concern of yours, or like you might upset some family members?
Oh no, not that. I think I mean,
other people maybe.
Yeah, just in terms of the fact that like this project, there's so many ways that it could be perceived, and like obviously when you have a story that deals with like any sort of traditionally, I guess, negative stereotype against your community, you want to find a way to make that more positive. And thankfully, like again, everyone who's been on board with this project has understood that we're trying to like shift lens and further and better representation. So I mean, thankfully, I think we're going in the right direction. But it's just easy. You never know, or it's not easy. You never know how people are going to perceive your work. So
do you guys have an idea in your head, like after Saturday, what will be a success and what will not be?
In what regards?
Like the event or the vibe that people have from the like obviously everyone's gonna have their opinion, but do you have like, is it just gonna be like your like you're like, okay, if these people like it, then we did it?
No, I think it's more, I mean, for me personally, I think it's more the amount of support we have show up, because that's the goal of this event, you know, for like future
So if it's packed out, you're like, we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's more than being
if people are like, we're holding people at the door. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also it's like, it's been crazy because like so many people from Riverside who have like a following and who have like, I mean, even this podcast, you know, like there's a lot of people who have been supporting it. And to me, like that's good enough, you know, like people who are willing to show up, people who are willing to do it just for like, you know, the goodness of them.
I think it kind of helps like when people are also doing stuff, they understand how much work it takes, and like how we all just kind of want a little bit of support.
Yeah,
like we just like we're all trying to do something that like is hard, you know, like so it's like, oh man, like even like with Jay from River, like he was like, I'm like, what made you start doing these videos? Like, you know, people liked them, so I just kept making them, right? It's like, if no one ever liked them, I would have stopped.
Yeah, and then you connect to so many people, and like, Jay from River, perfect example. I mean, like, even the fact that he's like, like, I'll be there, I'll show up, you know, and like, he's not gaining anything from it. I
think he's a really like, I wish more people knew. I mean, I spent like 2 hours with him. If people only knew like his back story and like who he is, like he's a really good guy.
And like I mean, he's been able to get so much support from the community, and the fact that he's so willing to like give back, and like even Mark from Riverside, like I mean, he's helped us so much with this event, and Juan Navarro, people like that. So
is Juan painting anything for you guys or no?
Well, he already did a mural for Casablanca.
Yeah, but is he going to do anything for you?
No, but he'll have his art there at the event. He's going to be having his art showcase, and if people want to, you know,
buy some stuff. Yeah,
he'll have it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like these people aren't gaining anything from this event. They're just willingly doing it.
It's kind of a Riverside thing, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's cool, like the support, like I didn't think we were going to have any of that support before, you know, but like people genuinely just want to be a part of it and want to support. So it's been incredible to just see everybody, you know,
That's
like
awesome,
jump
guys.
on it.
Awesome. Anything else you guys want to add off on?
Show up to the event.
Event.
Saturday, June 29th.
I'll laugh if there's so many people that you're like pushing people away.
Well, now you're gonna laugh if there's not that many people.
You're gonna be the only one there.
I mean, I think the big thing is like I've always said, like when people see people trying something, I don't know your guys' age, but I feel like you're under 30.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. So it's like you're young, you're trying something, you're doing something. It's like when people see that, it's like, how do you not support it?
Yeah,
you literally like even. You guys are trying. Like I tell people all the time, like if you just try, people will support you. If they see that you're passionate about something, then all these people will throw in the hat.
Unless you're a hater.
Yeah, unless you're the person that has the story that you don't want to actually make or you don't want to write, and you're like, oh, I could write a better story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's an actress.
Literally, I can do it better. Yeah,
I do that better in the shower. You know?
Yeah, but for the most part,
but then they can't even shoot an Instagram reel.
They won't put themselves out there. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I try to like tell everyone. It's like how do you have the confidence to put yourself out there, because not everything's a home run.
Yeah.
You know, like I tell people all the time, like there's times we make a video and it sucked and no one
Yeah.
liked it and no one
Yeah.
viewed it or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And then there's stuff we put out that does well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that did
It's
well?
like trial and error.
That did well.
honestly.
Like it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah, yeah.
taking as many shots as you can.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's nerve wracking.
Oh,
Anything you
yeah.
put in the general public is nerve wracking, you know, because there's always people who have opinions.
Or call
And,
you, yeah.
you know, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to tune that out and
Yeah.
just do what
We used to
you
do
know.
this show called. We still need to do it. It's kind of thrown on the back burner. We'd walk around and like show neighborhoods,
Uh-huh.
and I laughed because, and it was funny at the time. I had, Adrian's Mexican, my
Mhm.
fiance's Mexican. I have 3 Mexican stepkids.
Stepkids, yeah.
I hired his cousin at the time, and they'd be like, people in the YouTube comments be like, "You racist! You don't like Mexicans! You don't show Casablanca! You don't go to the Mexican grocery store!"
That might have been me commenting.
Probably. And I'm just like, I'm like that. No, I was like, I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah,
like I just
yeah,
haven't
like-
and I'm like,
No.
I was just laugh like
Is
he'd
that
be
is that why you had us on
100%.
here?
But
Check mark.
check, right?
He's like, see, I told
See,
you.
I got one. I have 2 now. No, but like I'm just laughing.
yeah.
But it's like you have to like just realize like those comments, like these people are
Yeah.
just being. They have no clue. They don't know
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
I am.
Mhm.
They don't know anything. But-
Yeah.
so same thing with you guys. It's like
Mhm.
you don't
Yeah.
know what these people are upset about or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you just
Yeah.
kind of have to just.
Yeah, and it's so easy to share your opinions when you're not putting yourself in front of the screen.
100%.
Yeah.
And they're just writing the just
yeah,
keyboard
like
warrior.
hiding behind a screen. It's so
Yeah.
easy, and it's difficult to put yourself in front of the screen.
Which
but
then I feel like people like us, I never like. I'm like, hey, keep trying. Like, keep
Yeah, like-
trying, keep doing it, keep
Mhm.
shooting those videos. Oh,
Yeah.
but no one watches them. Well, keep trying.
yeah, like
Yeah.
why not? You know, at
Same
end
thing
of
with the
day-
podcast. You want to come do a podcast? Come use my place.
Yeah.
Just come
Yeah.
use my place. Don't spend the money.
Yeah,
'Cause then
like
let's get your feet wet. You know.
yeah, and like
totally.
why not support each other? You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like those people who are so like hateful, they're the ones at the end of the day who are gonna be affected and just angry and
Well,
bitter.
you only get one of these lives, and it's like at the end of it,
Mhm.
what do you say you've done?
yeah,
If it's nothing,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know how people do nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Yeah,
It's weird,
Yeah,
you know.
and it's like that has to bother them
Yeah.
to some.
Do you guys have that
point.
problem with interacting at people like your age group? How
Oh,
old are you guys?
absolutely.
I don't even know.
24.
I'm
24.
27.
Okay, do you
Yeah,
guys like
yeah.
struggle with that? Like interact? Like I don't watch any sports. People are like, oh, did you see
Yeah.
the game last night? I'm like,
Same.
no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
I have
yeah.
other things
Yeah.
going on. Do you struggle? Do you guys struggle like interacting with your age group?
Absolutely. I mean, I always joke around and I'm like, I have no friends. But it's like, because I think once you hit a certain age, it's like your friend group has to have similar interests or similar goals. And
I think it's a goals thing.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Or not the same goals, but like we're all going in some direction.
yeah, because it's
Yeah.
easy to like socialize
Yeah.
with people. But then once you get to like the root of a friendship, it's like, well, do you guys have the same goals? Do you
Mhm.
guys want the same things? Or you guys.
Or are they supportive to you?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
are they going to be jealous
Yeah.
Exactly.
of my success because they're not? Dude,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't understand that. It's a very big
Yeah.
problem.
And it's funny because like growing up, it's true when they say like you have so many friends in the beginning, and then as you get older, it gets less and less and less, and then before
I have
you
like
know
5.
It, yeah,
Maybe.
I have
I'm-
one.
Yeah.
So it's like like it's tough, but at the
And
end
he's
of
my
the
brother.
day, yeah, literally, yeah, for real,
Doesn't
yeah.
count.
He's forced
Doesn't
to be
count.
my friend.
Literally. And
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that we have such a close relationship and we
Yeah.
get along so well.
Mhm.
But I can't imagine not having like a sibling in that,
Yeah.
in that way to support. But yeah, at the end of the day, like people are always gonna hate. People are
Mhm.
always gonna be like jealous or bitter or whatever. Like but you kind of just have to ignore it and just
Mhm.
and that's one thing I've really learned growing up, like I've always wanted to be in the industry and I've always had people like with their comments and all of that, but at the end of the day, like you're gonna get there when you get there.
You're a
and
joke until you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then everyone believed in you.
Exactly.
I tell that to people
Exactly.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget when I started doing this real estate thing. I got my own office. It was on
Mhm.
Main Street, and I was like 18 months in, and my mom came in, and we were spending way too much money. I was an idiot back then. We were like remodeling the whole place, and my mom's like so nervous and I was like, you can leave, right? And then it all like worked out, and she was like, my son is the best realtor. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there was a time you told me to quit. What are you talking about? She's like, that never. I believed in
I never
you.
said
I
that.
believe you since day one. I'm like, let me go back on film. Do you guys do a lot of anything behind the scenes? Because like I feel like this would be a great thing, just like you
Mhm.
two interacting. Do you guys share a lot of that stuff, like
In what sense?
on Instagram Reels or like vlogs, things like that? Like you guys have a good thing. Like, do you guys
No,
feel
I
like
think
you
we
need?
have trauma.
Oh.
I think as like kids or like
we did too much of that when we were younger. Like,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
videos.
growing up,
we
we
should
would-
get back into that. But I mean,
Mhm.
She's like, I don't want
Yeah.
to. He's like, I don't want you yelling at me anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you
Yeah.
struggle with your
Nightmares.
friends like at that group?
yeah, totally. I feel like you just find like support, community, and friends in, like the most unconventional places, especially because like for some reason in like a lot of environments I've been like the youngest person in the room. So a lot of my friends are like in their 40s and 50s. So it's just weird.
I love hanging
mean,
out with the old
me
people.
too. Yeah, you learn so much from them.
Yeah,
But it's like, yeah, totally. I mean,
because they're not. They don't feel like they're competing with you.
exactly.
Mhm.
That's
That's
it
the big
too.
thing.
And
It's
you
like
get-
I already did my
They've already
thing.
lived that.
They've already
life.
done it.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
They want to hear your
Yeah.
successes. They don't want to compete with you.
Yeah, totally. I've really found that. I think that just like finding people who support you is the best thing you can do because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when you support people, they'll support you.
100%.
Yeah,
And I've noticed, funny enough, that like people who are successful and who have something going on in their lives, like they're the ones who are least bitter and least hateful,
Yeah.
and like because like they've gone through all of that too, and like of course like they see you trying and they're like, I remember when we were going through
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it definitely, you have to be very cautious with your friend group and all
Love
of
it. Love it.
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, Adrian, I'll be there on Saturday, 7 to 9:30.
Adrian,
Holding
will
you
you
guys
be
to
there
it.
on Saturday?
Yeah, of
Good,
course. No, he won't
good.
be. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Are you playing that day?
No,
Then you come support. We'll come together. Me and you.
you
All right.
guys better be there.
I'll
I'm gonna
buy
hold
you
to
dinner.
that. Oh,
Deal. I'll
There's
buy you dinner.
vendors.
well, we're gonna
there's
have some vendors there. So
Yeah, we'll get you some food, Adrian. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm super excited for Saturday. I can't wait to see how it comes out, and I can't wait until spring. Okay, so if you shoot in spring of 25,
Mhm.
when is it gonna go? Like,
The end of 20. Then towards the end of 25 is when we'll start the festival run.
got it.
Fingers crossed. Yes.
All right, so February of 2026,
We'll be able to watch it.
we'll have it
probably.
watched.
Yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
on here.
hopefully we'll be.
We'll talk about
like,
some
yeah.
awards. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
they won't get back to us, Adrian. Makes sense. And
Never,
they're like,
never.
They're like, please. They're like, delete.
No,
So-
this will be the first place we come
Yes.
back to.
Oh, I appreciate that, guys. If there's anything I could ever do to help you guys, please let me know. I'm always reach out. And until next time, guys, peace.